What I'd like to do is address the issue of whether or not it's appropriate to have a 20-year renewable contract. What can happen in 20 years when we're dealing with technology? 20 years ago, this was a laptop computer. 40 pounds, couldn't fit in the overhead bin, couldn't fit underneath the seat, cost about $2,500, and could hold a total of about 10 pages before it needed to print. 20 years ago, this was a big screen TV. 36 inches for $3,500, no flat panel, ate up a lot of energy and wore out after 2 years. And finally, perhaps most strikingly, 20 years ago, this was a mobile phone, affectionately known as the brick. Weighed 2.5 pounds and could fit in your pocket if you were wearing very, very large clothes. About 20 minutes of talk time, 1 hour of standby, and compared to phones now that are web-enabled and cost about $250, this baby costs 10 times that much. The point being, public access has costs with it. If you limit technology over a period of 20 years in the technology and information era, what we're talking about are not just opportunity costs, but actual financial costs as well. Opportunity costs, access costs, financial costs, all of which are inconsistent with public access to free speech and certainly inconsistent with a pay-per-view business model.
Oceanic is asking to use our public right of way. The buzzword here is our public right. Our, it belongs to all of us here and out there who live in Hawaii. Public not only means the public, it means the native Hawaiian, especially the Hawaiian nationals who have pledged their loyalty to the Hawaiian Kingdom. And right means an inherent sovereign right that belongs to the Aboriginal, Native, Kanaka Maoli people here. What I'm hearing is that Oceanic is a latest Captain Cook invader coming to the Hawaiian Kingdom.
Aloha, my name is Leilani Perkins and I'm a resident of Waipahu. I also am a certified producer at Waipahu Community Media Center. And like said earlier, I believe that the Community Media Center should be in every school. Why? Because it goes far beyond just learning about cameras, far beyond just learning about editing. It talks about people, it talks about community. You learn about what's happening in the community. And if you shut us out, oh well, you're gonna hear more of us if Olelo is out. Olelo, there's no reason, no accident that we're called Olelo to speak. Let our voices be heard. From younger generation all the way to the kupuna. There's a reason why we're called Olelo and we will speak out. It is needed in the community because it teaches us leadership, it teaches us to speak out, it even teaches us to be involved in the community. What is the point of calling us the community if you're not going to listen? Olelo is speaking. Olelo is a new way for people to be heard, to get everyone's voices out there.
First of all, currently there are no connections, with the exception, I believe, of Mount Punapuna, linking the Olelo Community Media Centers, our CMCs, and only a few high schools are wired into the network. We request that the DCCA ensure that changes are made to broaden access and to ensure that more CMCs and schools are brought into the Olelo loop. We also desire that you recognize capital funding is needed to support Olelo's migration to high-def TV and support ATSC standards, including captioning and meta data streams. Funding is needed to upgrade the network so that it can handle high-def video and data simultaneously, and for the expansion of connected sites to include all Olelo sites, more schools, and all of our islands. In addition, we ask that the original language in the agreement requiring that the picture quality of access channels be equal to that of the local network affiliate channels be retained and then also be enforced. Oceanic has a duty to properly fund public access service, and the DCCA has a duty to ensure that they are doing this. Time Warner, Oceanic's parent, is a very successful company. Change the 20-year contract to something more reasonable, where periodic reviews can be conducted to ensure that Oceanic is indeed providing the necessary funds to support the continual implementation of improved current technology for all of Hawaii's Olelo stations.
But what I can tell you is what is happening tonight
is completely indicative of what is happening on our community channels. There are so many voices waiting to speak and such limited space and time to do so.
I would also like to thank everyone in this room for taking time out of their busy schedules, traveling long distances, and waiting many hours to speak on this very important matter. For the past 20 years, Olelo Community Media has provided a means of communication to the general public that it may not have had otherwise through Olelo's Community Access television program, and they should be commended for this effort. 20 years ago, the state had a vision to provide a tool to help empower and engage Hawaii's communities in the issues they face. At that time, community leaders wanted Hawaii to be an example for the rest of the nation and how to best use community access television to provide the greatest public benefit. Thus, community television in Hawaii was born. Olelo Community Media, which operates Olelo's community television, provides a valuable community service to educators, government leaders, and other nonprofit and community organizations. From their humble beginnings, from a one production facility and enough community programming that necessitated only half a channel, Olelo has grown to include 7 community media centers that offers training, equipment, and facilities to produce numerous community programs and provide over 6,300 hours of community access programming that are broadcast over 6 channels. Olelo provides an invaluable service to Hawaii's school children by providing media training in our public schools and offering a showcase for these students to demonstrate their talents through Olelo's Youth Exchange video competition, which attracts the entries of several thousand students statewide each year. Self-confidence, public speaking skills, and creating hope in their lives are just a few of the byproducts of their engagement in these programs. Olelo also provides government agencies and officials an excellent means for reaching the community through cable television. However, with the exponential growth of community television over the past 20 years and the expectations of continued growth in this field, more is needed to meet the needs of our communities, which is this medium, and it's intended to help satisfy. So Olelo must be allowed to stay intact and continue to provide quality and free access to community television for educators, students, government agencies, and officials, nonprofit groups, community organizations, and the community as a whole.
I'm Yvonne Williams, and I am going to deliver testimony for Lynette Cruz, who had to leave. Lynette supports all of the things that have been brought up tonight, but she also wants to add this. I recently reviewed HRS Section 5.7.5, acknowledging the concept of aloha as the working philosophy of Native Hawaiians and the people of Hawaii. Aloha in this statute is supposed to be the essence of relationships in which each person is important to every other person. I've been looking at how the DCCA is in a position to put such a concept into action. I'm wondering, how is it that community people, the ones who tend to have the least wealth or means to get their issues out to the larger public, continually get shafted by those who have the most power to even things out? I don't see aloha in any of those actions. Rather, I see greed and thoughtlessness and unwillingness to look at the larger good that implies each person is essential to every other person for a collective wellness, a joint kuleana, if you will, that puts us all in the same boat as it heads toward an uncertain future, a vehicle that assumes we will take shared responsibility for each other. I see a money grab, where other organizations that know the success of Olelo Community Television's public outreach want to take over at our expense. I see an unwillingness by corporate interests to share even a small amount to benefit the rest of us. Oceanic stands to make billions on our public right of way. We are not asking for much for them to provide the means to upgrade our network, keep us current with technology, provide more funding, not less, so that we can be sustainable and expanded. And lastly, I would like to keep peg as peg. There is no way that Hank can service the schools and our youth as Olelo is doing now.